on as well, because again, this is my ministry as well as my story. Okay, so addiction, the paradigm shift to addiction is number one, addiction serves as a survival purpose. Number two, addiction represents the best way a person had to cope until now. Number three, the addiction can become the person's best friend. Number four, everyone's ability to deal with life on life term is different. Can I say that again? Everyone's ability to deal with life on life's term differs. Okay. The way I handle life is different from the way you handle life or someone else handle life. It's not the same. People think like, oh, well, we all in this together. Well, we all in a pandemic together. Actually, the whole globe is all in a pandemic together. But how we handle it differs. Some people is living their life. They ain't letting nothing stop them. They going out, they doing whatever. They going to the club, they going to the parties, they going, they going shopping, they going on vacation, they doing whatever. They just like, hey, I'm not letting this stop me. I'm doing whatever. And some people are living sheltered. It's isolated. Like, I'm not going out. I'm not doing anything. I'm staying home. I'm gonna follow the CDC, and I'm not doing anything. And then you have some that is in between, that they may do something and then they got to come home and quarantine, and then they may do something else and they come home and quarantine. So everybody life differs. We are all not the same. We are not created the same. We are not made the same. We are not built the same. We are not the same. And that goes for people in recovery. My recovery is not the same as everybody else's recovery. Let me say that again. Your recovery is not the same as my recovery. You may say, I don't do drugs, hard drugs. I may drink and I may smoke. Well, guess what? That's your recovery. That ain't my recovery. I ain't doing none of it. Okay. I'm not doing drinking, smoking, drugging, none of it. Okay. That's my recovery. I'm abstinent. So I don't judge you. You don't judge me. But the whole point is your life differs from mine. You may can handle drinking and smoking. I can't. Okay. That's just how it is. So people lives differ. And then patients can address the ways issues from the past are impacting them today. So that means people can address the way issues from their past impact them today. So people's trauma can affect them in ways today. People past lifestyle can affect them in ways today. So it impacts them. It affects them. So there's a thing that back in I want to say back in the there's a time that, well, if you do psychology, if you're a psychology major, you might understand what trust and mistrust was, what the different I want to say Juan and goodness, I can never think of these psychologies, theologies. I get them all confused. Rogers, they all are people who they're psychiatrists and they are therapists, and they made all of those, the Maslow hierarchy, all of that, all of that. So that's psychology stuff. I have all the books over there. I can just go over there and say, let me just get the book so you can see it. But how do addictions start? Okay, so addiction starts with in the infancy stages of trust and mistrust, lack of early bonding, lack of confidence, industry and inferiority, lack of self-esteem, identity or intimacy, and reaction or prescribed, and mental health issues. And the Jelinek curve, which is another study another person who studies. They talk about the recreational use, occasional use for relief. So sometimes you use drugs, sometimes we use substances. Let me say that because drugs is so harsh. I don't want nobody to say I use drugs. People they don't like to say that I don't use drugs. I just smoke marijuana. Okay, you smoke marijuana. What do you think marijuana is? Or I don't do crack. I just smoke ruler or something. I don't know. They say crazy stuff. I don't do heroin. I do opiates. Okay, so that's what they say. So we'll say substances. So that means anything. That means prescription, non-prescription is all in the same bracket. So people use it for recreation. People use it occasionally for relief, increasing craving, increased triggers, stimulus, generalization, unable to discuss the problem, efforts to control, fail, increased time and energy. Continued use despite negative consequences. You stop using, you see the original problem plus the addiction create problems. Use again, makes the decision to change, seeks to understand and address the reason for the original distress created from the addiction, addresses physical issues, maintaining the distress, develop healthy coping skills, improve self-esteem, and rebuild healthy support networks. So all of that is part of addiction and part of recovery as well. So what are some addictions characteristics? Inability to consistently abstain, impairment in behavior control, craving, increased hunger for drug or rewarding experiences. Now, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Diminished recognition of significant problems with one's behavior and interpersonal relationship. A dysfunction and a dysfunctional emotion response. It can be activities that impact the pleasures, the activities that impact pleasure, the adrenaline rush, the dopamine rush, the endorphin rush. And all of that is like, whoo. I told y'all before, I know this has been a long time and you probably don't even remember. Is that sometimes you get a euphoria, it never be okay. I don't know about you, but you can put that in a comment. If you ever did drugs, okay, put that in the comment. If you ever did drugs for the first time, when you did drugs the first time, what was the feeling like? Was it like, oh, or whatever? You get this euphoria, and it's like you never get it again, and it just, I'm sorry, it just makes you feel good at that time. And people sometimes I'm gonna stay with me. Sometimes I used to I try to reach that first time high, but it never happens. So you continue to keep thinking and it doesn't happen. Excuse me. So listen, what I wanted to talk about, and I put it up on the screen, is stigma. Stigma about addiction. Now, what is stigma? Stigma is a discrimination against an identifiable group of people, a place, or a nation. Stigma about people with substance abuse disorder might include inaccurate or unfounded thoughts they think is dangerous, incapable of managing treatment, or at fault for their condition. So in other words, people may say, oh, they using drugs, they are an addict, they been like that. You don't know what you don't know. You just like all people with drug problems for people. So where does stigma come from? For people with substance abuse disorders, stigma may stem from inadequate and inaccurate belief that addiction is a moral failing instead of what we know it to be, a chronic, treatable disease from which patients can recover and continue to lead a healthy life. I am that person. There may be somebody out there that is like me. See, that's a problem with when you see people who use drugs. The first thought is, look at them. I mean, just look at them. Oh my goodness, they on drugs. they're a mess, right? That's your stigma. That's what you think, because you think that they fail somewhere. You think that um they made a choice. Yeah, what we I did make a choice. I decided I wanted to use drugs, right? To cope with something. Didn't know what I was coping with because I wanted to block it out. So my choice of drug I used to cope was a suppressor. I wanted to suppress the feelings that I was going through, right? And so, because the substance a person, because you see a person drinking or whatever they're indulging in, you assuming that they're failed, that they lost their kids. And so, you on the phone, yeah, girl, I see her. She on drugs again. She lost her kids. She lost her home. She lost her house. She lost her spouse. She lost everything. And she dropped out of school, whatever it is. But that's your preconception of what it is, because you only know from the outward of what the person is. You don't realize that it's a brain disease, and you don't realize that it's chronic and it's treatable. Just like diabetes, just like heart disease, just like anything we do, it's treatable. And we use these words, and this is for me. I got some terminologies I have to change sometimes, because when I talk about addict, and it's really, instead of saying, oh yeah, I'm an addict, a person with substance use disorder, SUD, substance use disorder. So there's a person who has a substance use disorder. Okay, instead of be like they're addict. Okay, they have a substance use disorder. They use. Okay, we don't have to be labeled as addicts. I don't like the word addict, but I had to confess that. And afterwards, I just decided that I'm gonna change my language. Users. We always say, oh, yeah, user. Well, how about is a person who use they're a marijuana use. They're a person with and we say people who use heroin as heroin addicts. Why can't we just say as a person with opiate addiction? A junkie. We call people junkies all the time. I mean, I used to call people junkie. Like, oh my God, look at that junkie. How about they're a patient? Or, oh my goodness, look at that. Billy Bob is an alcoholic. Oh my goodness. How about the person with an alcohol use? They use alcohol. Because we're addressing and identifying what they do, not who they are, because we don't really know who they are, because we only going by what we see on the outside. We don't really know who they are on the inside, because on the inside they're broken, they're tore up, they have trauma, or they may have just decided to check out and they just want to be numbed. So we are labeling them with all these different things instead of saying this is not who they are, this is what they do. We have to turn it around. Now, I consider myself a former addict, but I'm a person in recovery or in long-term recovery. Or reform addict, a person who previously used drugs. So we tend to just say all these different wording, and I can go on and on and on, like clean. Okay, so I test negative. Dirty. I text positive. We talk about children who's born addicted. Oh my goodness. We gotta take care of crackhead babies. We gotta take care of addicted babies. Why can't we say we gotta take care of children that were born to mothers who use drugs while pregnant? Or babies with signs of withdrawal from prenatal drug exposure. I mean, we can do this. We can do it. But we choose not to, because we want to keep disrespectful saying things about people, right? So I'm gonna hop on here real quick about an amazing primer on nutrition and neurotransmission. And do I want to talk about that, or do I want to talk about? Because I have a few things. I have a few. Nah, I'm gonna save that one for last. I have a few things I want to talk about. And it's really about, I mean, I take this class. I take CUs, so which is, y'all don't know what CUs is. What CUs is, it's a continuing education unit. So I need that for my recovery, to be certified and licensed as a substance abuse counselor. So, you take all these different classes. And the information is very helpful. And one, you could take these classes if you want to know it, or you could take these classes to help you with family members, right? Okay, so the question is, why should you care how recovery or substance abuse impact a person, right? Because you really don't care. You're like, I don't care. Okay, why I care how it impacts? Well, this is why. Whether it existed before the addiction or caused by the addiction, in early recovery, nearly every person neurotransmitters are out of place. So you're like, what are neurotransmitters? So, well, I'm gonna tell you what neurotransmitters are. Okay, I'm gonna get into what neurotransmitters are, and also the causes of depression. This causes a feeling of depression, apathy, anxiety, exhaustion. This part of what is referred to as post-acute withdrawal syndrome. And understanding why you feel the way you do is the first step. Figuring out how to help yourself feel better is the next step. So what do that mean in recovery? Well, this is what people don't realize. What are neurotransmitters? Okay. I know mine are all out of whack. They've been out of whack for 20 something years. And so, what is neurotransmitters? Okay, the human brain is composed of roughly 86 billion neurons. These cells communicate with each other via chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters regulate your mood, cravings, addiction, energy, libido, sleep, attention, concentration, memory, pain sensitivity, right? So, when people in pain, that's why you always notice that they give you if you have nerve pain, if you deal with, like myself, I deal with fibromyalgia. And so I have nerve pain, and that nerve pain, it's just, it's just something that I don't care what kind of medication you take. It just does not, listen, that brain, that, where that pain come from, that stem of the brain, that side of the brain, that wherever type of side of the brain, it does not help any. It's like, oh my gosh, don't touch me. Don't, the sheets, how do sheets hurt you? Sheets even hurt. Okay. So that affects me so much. It's so bad. I just be like, oh my gosh, please stop. Don't touch me. Please don't. I tell my husband, don't touch me. Even if you rub up against me, I'm in pain. It just hurts. That's how, but it's a nerve, and that's dealing with the brain. But that part, that sensitivity part of the brain is something, and the medication don't seem to tap on that. Well, that is the part that, no matter what the medication is. So when the person is dealing with addiction, and that is deregulated, is whack, is out of control, because now your cravings, everything is just, you craving more, you just, it's just so, listen, I can't, it is a terrible feeling, right? Because the early part of my recovery, my neurotransmitters, all my stems, and I think everything was out of whack. My whole body was out of whack. And I had such bad withdrawal. I mean, I thought it was physical, but they thought it was psychological. But the whole point was the drugs that I used so much, this is how I felt going up and down my body. Like I'm shaking my hands. But imagine that, like needles sticking in you from your head, like, little needle. I'm telling you, it's a horrible feeling. If you have fibromyalgia, it feels like that when you are getting off of them drugs. I just want to say that. It's just all over the place. So nevertheless, about 86% of Americans have Suboptimal neurotransmitter levels are unhealthy modern lifestyle largely to blame. So chronic no, I can't talk. Chronic stress, poor diet, environmental toxins, drugs, prescription and recreational, alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine can cause neurotransmitter depletion. What do that mean? That means all those healthy neurons that's in your brain that signals off to your body, tells your body whatever, regulate your mood, regulate your hypothalamus, regulate your temperature in your body, regulate everything. If it's out of whack, that means you're not regulated. So for example, let me use this for example. You have a thermostat. If you have a thermostat, because some people still have the baseboard heat. So if you have a thermostat in your house, whether it's on an air conditioner or you have it in your house, central air conditioner, right? You know that if you turn it up or down, it regulates the temperature in your home, right? Obviously. Ooh, excuse me, that means it's bedtime. But you know that it regulates, right? Okay, so if you put it up, it'll regulate and make it warm. If you put it down and make it cool. Well, that's what they're trying to say. Your body is not regulating. Nothing is regulating. Everything is out of whack. Everything is out of whack. So the things that you like, so I crave candy, so some substance users that may have used opiates. Sometimes they like candy, like something sweet. Hey, baby, you got some candy? Give me some. Let me get it. I need some candy. That's how they talk. Some people talk like that. I talk like that when I'm sleeping. But that's not to judge them, but certain way you can identify them. They talk like, but they have to have candy. Constantly have candy. So they're craving this candy. Because again, their neurotransmitters depleting, so everything is a little off, a little off. So like I just was saying, and I ain't even read it, eating foods with a low glycemic index improves the quality and duration of intellectual performance. So they're saying that you have to have a healthy diet, especially you have to replace the things, because a person, when you are not really, if you're not really doing if you're doing substances, and if you notice that people who do substances, they don't eat really good. I know I ain't eat really good. I know I ain't at all. So that's just a little bit. It's the serotonin. I mean, the serotonin. Okay, I'm making that deals with depression, apathy, emotional flatness or dullness, passivity, insomnia, and other sleep problems, difficulty concentrating and learning, poor memory, amnesia, difficulty making decisions and acting on them, sexual dysfunctions. But it also, again, the mechanism of the action or the purpose of it is to help regulate your mood, your sleep pattern, your appetite, and again, pain perception. And it is found where the serotonin is found is in the brain, the gut, intestines, and the skin, which is the melatonin. So of course, that's the second part of another part of your brain that controls a lot of functions. And when it's out of whack, your mood, everything is just off. Everything is off. Your sleep is off. Now, I used to use a stimulant and it would keep me up all night long. I mean, like, I wouldn't get sleep for days. I had to take something to put me to sleep. I couldn't concentrate. I definitely can't. I can't remember nothing now. My friend be sitting there talking about you going to timeout because you don't remember. They can say I remember the person and they lived on the same block. I'm like, I don't remember that. I mean, it's just what it is. Difficulty making decisions. I always had that problem. Um, and I definitely had sexual dysfunction. Mm. And so all of that stuff, when you're using substances, it tends to attack those things. Um, and sometimes if you have, that's why they give you if you go to the doctor and they give you a certain type of medication and they said and you read the label. Now, what? Pay attention. You read the label and you see on the label it has serotonin uptake. That means it's supposed to boost up your levels because once your levels get insufficient, it is and women sometimes have the experience too because they crave carbs and they eat carbs and so this is supposed to help boost it up, especially when it's depleted, when it's out. Like I could tell I might be having some issues going on with my serotonin, and I need to talk to my doctor. It's probably because I notice about my muscles. I'm constantly having these muscle spasms. So the medication they give you, like I stated, they have SSRI, which is a serotonin upticker. So it's supposed to help you. So even if you eat foods enriched in all like amino acids and you eating whole wheat potatoes, brown rice, lentils, oats, and beans, it's supposed to kind of boost you up. But if you are a substance abuser and that will deplete and it's depleting, you're not getting those, you're depleting in serotonin. So those things is not getting, you're not getting enough. It's definitely some type of, it's taken away from you, and all of that is in the brain. Okay, in the brain. And I'm not giving you the whole brain lesson. I could and I'm not saying I could do it on the basis of a doctor. I'm doing it on the basis of what it does in addiction, because that is something that I studied a lot in school because I wanted to know what it was doing to me, like what I was going through. Because I have to know what I'm dealing with for myself in order for me to help someone else. You see what I'm saying? Some people, they go to school for this because they want to learn to help others. No, I wanted to learn to help me. Oh, somebody missed that. You want to get information to help yourself so you can help someone else, because you can get the information for you. You get the information to help somebody else and you ain't helping yourself. I heard my mentor say this earlier. You bleeding on everybody because you haven't taken care of yourself. So when you're an abuser of substances, before you can help someone else, you want to help yourself. So that way you are whole and you are healthy enough to be able to help bring someone. I don't think you heard me. You help someone up and bring them up. A lot of people, like I said, I work in a clinic, a methadone, we call it medication. Let me say the right word. It's called medication assistant treatment, MAT. And so they use what we call methadone to help individuals to decrease their cravings of opiates. Okay? And there are some individuals who may not want to be pulled up. And there are some who are in, and I'm going to talk about this next week, the 5 stages of change. Now, this, when I talk about it, it can be for anybody, because the 5 stages of change just doesn't mean it's for someone who are a substance abuser, but it's also for someone who decides that they're not ready to change their life. I don't think you heard me. There are 5 stages of changes that individuals can be in who are not even using any substances. They may not want to change because of something. They may be in the pre-contemplation of change. They know that they need to change. They know that they're nasty. They know that they are not a good housekeeper. They know that they're not, doing the right thing with their children or whatever. They may know that they're neglecting themselves. And guess what? They may not be ready to change. And that's okay, because we're supposed to meet people where they at, right? And that's how it is in the church. We know we preach the gospel. We know we preach the message that someone should be reconciled back to God and have that relationship that God has allowed his only begotten son, right? To redeem the lost. We know that. And that is our message to preach to the lost and the hurt, the broken, to bring hope and peace and right fellowship with God. But they don't want that. They decide that I like the way I'm living. I know I admit with 3 hands, I enjoyed what I was doing. It's just unfortunate that it had consequences. But I knew what to do. I didn't do it. I had a choice to do it. I chose not to. You see what I'm saying? But the people who loved me didn't give up on me, even when I gave up on myself. And so that's what we have to not do. We have to not give up on people. So the changes that I'm going to talk about next week is going to address the 5 stages of change. And you're going to see where you fit in there. I fit in there. I'm still fitting in there, and I'm still trying to get out of one of them stages myself. And we all go through that. So the neurochemical imbalance from excessive recreational use of substances or activity, party pooper, the use of a substance or activity to eliminate feelings of depression, anxiety, stress, anger, or pain. And as I was saying, it leads to unsuccessful effort to cut down or quit, spending more time or more money thinking about it, engaging in it, or recovering from use, neglect of important areas of functioning. And this is what I'm talking about with addiction and recovery and the brain. All of this plays a significant part. You're saying like it's so much. It is so much. And this is the thing that I like to do. I like to give you the educational piece of it because, again, it's still research. There's still a lot of research. No one treatment helps. Is no maintenance, the medication maintenance that we use for opioids addiction and people who are using whether it's Percocet, Oxycontin, oxycodone. These are pills, okay? So you get them from the doctor, Percocets, okay? And you pop one of them pills and that takes you like, okay, you taking it for pain, but then it gives you that euphoria and that feeling, and then next thing you know, your doctor stops giving you the prescription because they figure like you had enough and you should succumbed your actually wrong word and the wrong terminology. You overcame your incident. You should not need pain medication after 6 weeks of being on this particular Percocet. But no, you need it because you feel bad. Your body, you start to have shivers and shakes and diarrhea, and you feel funny and you don't know what's going on, and you're going through a medical withdrawal. And so you go purchase something. You tell somebody, hey, I need this. You got any pills? And they say, I know somebody who got some pills. And now you buying it illegally. And that's what the problem be with opioid addiction. And so because of that, they may not qualify to be on methadone maintenance because they may need the other type of medication. They may need Suboxone or buprenorphine, they may need that. They may not need the methadone. And so because they may not need the methadone, because they're not a person who consistently use opioids intravenously or in a halation. And so this is why they may qualify for something else. So it's no one fit all in anything. It's no, some people can deal with NA and some people may need inpatient. You know, see, some people may need residential and some people may need outpatient. So you can't put everybody in a box. So you can't put an alcoholic with a opiate addicted. You can't put someone who smoked marijuana with someone who snort cocaine. You cannot put them all in the same bracket and think that they should be able to recover and be okay. It don't work like that. That's your brain thinking, but that's not how it goes in the real world. And so because of that, you want to, I mean, I have dealt with family member and consistently deal on a every other basis, family members who relapse, you know. And I say to myself, not judging them, I get mad. Maybe I'm mad, maybe I'm jealous, I don't know. But the bottom line is I'm my cravings, God has taken the desire away. But what I'm saying is I may feel some kind of way. And I say this, I'm be honest. I can be transparent and honest at the same time, okay? Because this is a constant fight for me. But I can feel like, how do they relapse and keep relapsing and getting off of the stuff and getting on some stuff and getting off the stuff and getting off? And if I'm thinking like, if I do it, I'm dead. That's it. I'm dying. Ain't no, I may not die the first night, but if I consume more than what almost killed me, I'm gonna say that again because people think like see, you can do the drug and stop the drug, and then if you pick it back up, you be doing more or you do something else on top of what you did, and your body is your body is clean, has been clean for years, and then you just bring on that's a shock to your body, and you trying to get that euphoria that you had the first time you got high, and then your body going into, and your heart is, and your stroke out. That's why they give everybody Norcan. I have Norcan. So they give people Norcan. And so I got Norcan because I take pain medications for fibromyalgia and arthritic issues. And they think the medications can, you know, if you take, and I don't never take that because I don't even like it. I take the Tylenol or BC powder, which I know don't nobody say about BC powder. Stand Back, baby, is the best thing. I don't care what you say. It's always going to be the best thing. So people who take that stuff, they consistently they take it for pain and it helps them, right? So again, these things, you know, about the drugs, like I said, it produces a feeling of pleasure, euphoria, happiness when none exists. By altering the brain chemistry, you numb the emotion or physical pain when nothing else works. You altering the brain chemistry. You help the person survive when they cannot tolerate the pain and feel overwhelmed, hopeless, and helpless. So this is what the person do. This is what I did. I was numbing everything I didn't want to feel. Listen, you don't want to feel, you don't, when you realize, well, you don't realize, I'm gonna speak for me. I didn't know when I don't know, I guess when I got older, I realized that that's why I smoked that first joint. It wasn't because my friend introduced it to me and said, "Here, smoke this." It was that. It was that too. But it was also because of something that happened to me. And because that person came in that I didn't know how to deal, I did some other misbehavior, you know, running away or I don't even know, fighting. I did something. To kind of let's cry for help, put it like that. I mean, that's what it is. You crying for help and you do something else. I did something else to cry for help. And because I did something to cry for help, this person came just in time to give me something to stop crying for help but numb myself. So that's what happened. So People do that. They use things to help them cope and tolerate what they're dealing with. And like I said in the beginning, it's either um it's either one or two things. Well, then I say it was three things. I think I said about three or four things that a person do with it. What how the paradigm shift is. It serves as a survival purpose. It represents the best way a person had to cope until now. And why I say that, and this is what the writer said. They said that is because this is all the person can do. This is what a person had done up until now. I guess they had other ways. I don't know. Before I was born I was born in the 70s. They may have other ways to cope. When I came along in 85, I mean like 85, I'm talking about 75. I'm 5 years old. Okay. A traumatic experience happened to me. 6, 7, 8, right? Now I'm 8 years old and I need something to cope. Right? So that's what I did. So people do things to cope and they use it to cope. But again, it could be their best friend. They don't have to do it for nothing. Or, and I said this, and I'm going to say this again in my closing. Everyone's ability to deal with life on life term differs. I will never deal with what you deal with. I will never put myself in a position to say, girl, if that was me, I would do such. I would not. Because guess what? I'm not living my life on your terms. You're not living your life on my terms. I'm not comparing you to me. You can't compare me to you. Now, I can say in a manner to say, well, I would like to make a suggestion to help you with coping in the situation. See, that's what we need to give people, coping skills. We can't say to them what we should tell them how to do things because, again, we don't know that's their life. My life is not the same. But if I can suggest a different way, maybe you can cope better. You may not have to use heroin, crack, anything. Maybe you can do this instead of that. Maybe you can do that in lieu of this. Whatever the case may be, we need to offer options and offer solutions. So a person who is, whether they're in addiction or recovery, you have to show patience, especially if it's your loved one, if it's your spouse, if it's your family member. I'm talking to myself with that. And I say family member because I gotta show patience, because at the same token, again, I realize that they're living life on their terms and I'm living life on my terms, and my term is different from their terms. Whether I'm young or older than them, it doesn't make a difference. Their terms, their life is totally different from mine. And so with that being said, I have to be very careful of what information that I give or how to help them or how to support them. And sometimes I don't have the answers. Matter of fact, I don't have the answer. Ain't no sometimes. I don't have the answers. You have to refer to my word to get me the answer, or refer to God in prayer for the answer, or I have to contact my connections, my professionals, my specialists, and my clinicians and ask them, how do you do such and such, and what do you suggest? We have a treatment team at work, and when we don't know what to do, because again, ain't nobody on the job super counselor, okay? They may say they're super counselor, but they're really not super counselor. I don't care how many books they got, how many MBAs, MDs, whatever, but back of their name, you contact your colleagues to ask them, hey, what do I do in this situation with this scenario with this person, right? Because you need to get some assistance to help you treat someone. We are not all geared up to know what to do sometimes. So I don't have all the answers. So what I do is I call somebody and ask them, hey, I have a patient or I have a client that they have been going with this, such and such and such and such for so long. They have co-occurring disorder. That's another subject we're going to talk about going into it. Co-occurring disorders, what it is, dealing with a person who has substance abuse and mental health disorders combined, and both of them are not treated. They're not on medication for either one of them or seeking treatment for either one of them. So when I have some issues with someone, I gotta ask somebody. Even in my spiritual life, I gotta go to my leaders or go to those who I'm connected to ask them, hey, well, sometimes I don't, nah. I mean, I do it now, but when I wasn't doing it, I mean, they wasn't mind readers either, but I just wasn't doing it. I was like, I'm not going to them because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to be looked at because, again, people look at you and thinking like you got it all put together because you go to church. You got it all put together because you have recovery. I told a family member the other day, I still have drug dreams. I still have I don't crave the drug, but I still have the issue that I ain't go. Listen, you want to go minister in a crack house? Go ahead by yourself. I'll be on the outside waiting. I ain't going up in nobody's house to talk about, because I ain't that. I mean, I got the Holy Ghost. Greater is He that's within me than he that's in the world, but I ain't tempted. See, you're not going to tempt me. I'm not tempting myself either. I'm not going up in those places, and I ain't being around my friends who's sitting there. Not my friends. I'm saying like my friends now, the people I deal with now, but I'm using the terms if it was a friend and I know that I ain't sitting up with them while they pouring the drugs out and rolling up the weed and taking a sniff and drinking. I'm not gonna sit there and I'm there with them. What we gonna be doing? And they doing all that, and I'm sitting. Eventually, my brain is gonna be like, now you know that my stem is gonna start depicting pain all of a sudden that I'm gonna be like, my memory might start to. Because there's still, listen, I have a file cabinet that has not been all the way open. It only was the 2 drawers that was open. I don't know about the 3rd and 4th drawer that haven't been unlocked yet. So something might come out like I don't want to at the time, and then I might need to take something to submit, like numb that. I don't want to feel that or hear that or think that. So I ain't doing none of that. But like that, that's like I said, I'm talking about me, because I don't live life on your terms. So I ain't doing that. Okay. I am going to do what I know is going to be safe for me, and that's going to be smart, wise, and keeping me. And so I tell them I do have issues sometimes, and I gotta be mindful. And I gotta take all the tools out my toolbox. I gotta go back to read my meditation books. I gotta go back and read my book. I gotta know some more about what it does. How much damage did the drugs do to my brain? I said 25 years, 26 I'm going on. How much damage? Now I know physically there's damage. I told you I have issues with my nose. You can't see it on the outside. You're like, oh, you got a pretty nose. I put some makeup on there. But on the inside, my God, it is a mess. And it may not sound like it right now because I used to. Now, you know what? I feel grateful. I thank the Lord. Let me give God praise right here. Let me thank God, because there was times that you might hear me and I would sound like I was talking through my nose because I could not. There was a hole that, and anyway, I had a perforated septum. They kind of plugged it up. And so I can breathe a little better now, and talk a little better. Okay. All of that is an impact. So anyway, these are the things. Addiction is a brain disease. It is a chronic disease that can be treated. It can be treated. It should be treated, but the person got to want it. They do got to want it. And that is something that we all can really we really need to pray about, we need to seek God about, because a lot of times, I said I'm gonna talk about that in my next live, not next week, but another, as I continue on, talk about the things that we need to do, and how the brain, how nutrition, how all of that is a factor in the recovery. But I wanted to give you some information. As always, I use a lot of material. Like I said, I use it for me. So, not again, your life. I use it for me. I'm just making a suggestion for you. Always get the information. And um there is some websites that I use, which this is one of my favorite website, Samha. Samha is the publications I use to get my information. I use the I'm using National Mental Health Alliance, National Mental Health Substance Abuse Alliance. I use all of those things. Because again, I use it for myself to help me be a better person so I can help someone else. But stigma, recovery, stigma, addiction, and recovery. Choose your words differently, because again, it's not that person. They are not cocaine addicts. That is what they use. They are cocaine users. They're not alcoholics or junkies. They are individuals who use alcohol. Just like children are not ADHD. That is just something that they were diagnosed with because of some observations that have been noticed within school or with home, and their parents are concerned about, and that's okay. But they're not autistic. Okay, that is just something that that is a brain disorder. See, you gotta know, Jesus. You got to know what it is before you throw it out there. I learned a lot today in a 15-minute live. I learned a lot the other day in another live that I thought I was programmed. And that's another story for another time. But I want you to hear it in this platform as well, is because it was talking about religion. And I was programmed under that, where I was about I'm this denomination. Oh, I am this. I'm a Pentecostal. I'm an apostolic. That's the denomination. I'm a Christian. That is not what I am. Because I found out Jesus is not a Christian. Okay. So I found out that Apostle Paul and the apostles and just so much are not Christians. That's what we were taught. And just like a lot of things we are taught, behaviors are taught. Behaviors are taught. And I was told in psychology class, one of my psychology classes, can't remember because it's been since 2013, that the thing is, if you do something for 21 days, you can change the behavior. And so, just like she's getting ready to do a 21-day financial fast. I did that last year. And yes, where you didn't spend credit cards, you didn't buy nothing. You had to cook. I had to cook my meals. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, when I realized how much money I spent, now I should have did that some years ago, that 21-day financial fast, because one, I love wigs and hair. That's why I'm in trouble now. But that's how much money I spent, thousands of dollars on hair to make these custom made wigs. And yes, I still have them. Okay. Cause I realize, like, I was just getting ready. I realized, I was like, I can't even get my hair done, my wig done, none of that. But the point is to say, it is a behavior that can be undone if you constantly do it for a certain amount of days. And this is what we use as cognitive behavior therapy to help children or help adults be able to identify their behaviors and be able to change them in a manner that they are able to control. See, you missed that part. They can control it, not us, not the counselors, not the psychiatrists, not the psychologists, not the behavior specialist, no, not the substance abuse counselor. It is for the individual. You are equipping them to be able to change their behavior so they don't have to use substances. You're equipping them so they can understand how to cope. You're equipping them so they can understand that you want to get to the bottom of their substance. Again, it doesn't have to be connected to trauma. It could just be the fact that, hey, I started doing it. Somebody introduced it to me and I like it. I enjoy it. They just like it. But the whole point is you gotta know what to say and what not to say and how to address the person for what they do, not for who they are. Because who they are is who God say they are, no matter what. Even if they do something wrong. Yeah, they may be sinners, but they are saints, okay? And they may have done this, but they can do that. And this is all in what you want to help support, okay? So I enjoyed this so much. This, again, is my passion. I love it. I'm going to give like definitions of, terminologies so you can get a better understanding of what codependency is, how to identify it, Al-Anon, what that is, for individuals who are children of parents and vice versa. Giving you some more information so you can take that information to help someone else, or not just so much to help somebody else, but in your ministry you can have a better understanding. Because one thing I learned as being in a ministry is when people always sit there and talk about who you are, always pointing out, yes, we know that. Let me say this very, very, very nicely. Let me say this very nicely. Lord, give me the thing to say very nicely. Let me say it very nicely. We always, and I'm going to say me. No, I want to say we. I want to say you now. A person can always say they recognize a spirit. That's a dark spirit. That's a demon. Okay. So is it just depression a demon? Is it alcohol a demon? Substance abuse a demon? So is heart disease a demon? Is diabetes a demon? I mean, I just want to know. I want to know. So if you have the answer, comment, please. Comment. If you're watching the replay, comment. If you're watching the YouTube, comment. I want to know, is heart disease a demon? Is diabetes a demon? Is let's see what else. Cancer a demon? Is COVID a demon? I want to know whatever. I want to know. I want to know. And I know I have some COVID survivors on here, and they will tell you. I want to know, is those demons, right? Because we always address those as medical conditions, right? I'm just saying. I mean, don't beat me up or cuss me out or write on this some nasty thoughts, but we do, right? But then when it comes to addiction, or when it comes to someone who's using a substance or alcohol, whatever, a person says it's a demon, but they don't identify that as a brain disease because it attacks the brain, and the brain gets sick. I would use that nicely. Sick too. And so because the brain is sick, so the brain is not an organ. Kidney failure is a demon. I mean, is kidney failure a demon? When a person got, I was diagnosed with diverticulosis. I don't know how many medical people know what that is, but that's something with the intestines, right? And I got to eat fiber before it gets to be diverticulitis, which is a worse condition in the intestines, right? Didn't know I had it. Just happened to happen to go to a doctor appointment, and I had some, and they thought it was irritable bowel syndrome. Okay. Is that a demon? Because that's what they told me. And I know I felt crampy and oh my God, my stomach will hurt 1 minute. I'm just not being TMI, but I'm just saying. So if we can identify all of these physical medical conditions, why can't we think that the brain can get sick? And why can't we think that when someone uses substances that they don't get sick? That that addiction is a disease of the brain, and that person is getting sick and they feel sick because they need that substance to make them feel whole. That may be too much for you. I'm just asking. Don't beat me up. You know, I said I don't have all the answers. I said that earlier. I don't have all the answers. So you helping me to understand something, because I like to learn too. And I am very receptive. I ain't better than nobody. So I like you got some information for me. Let me know. Because even when it talks about dieting, and I'm gonna throw this out, and I'm gonna get off here because I said I'm gonna get off. But when they tell us that, like, okay, for example, my doctor, I took a physical. My doctor said your AC1 is 1.2 pre-diabetes. Your cholesterol is over borderline, but all this could be reversed if you change the way you eat and exercise. 100. She gave me the minutes. 150 minutes. I was like 100, and drink 5 bottles of water. So I did 3 today. I'm getting there. But the whole point is this: what she's saying that can change my numbers and bring my levels down, so I won't be a diabetic, so I won't have take statin medications because my arteries are getting hard, and I mean, if y'all have those issues that the doctor tell you, right? Okay, why is it that when people use a substance, it's always something different? I'm just saying. So if I can reverse that, and that's treatable, why can't addiction be a treatable? Addiction can't be a treatable. That's why there's treatment. That's why they call it treatment. Inpatient, outpatient treatment. Substance abuse treatment. They give you treatment. Medication assisted treatment. Because a chronic condition can be treated. It can be reversed. But there's some, the ones that we know terminally, which we know cancer, but cancer can be treated because people has been surviving. So there's treatment. People surviving COVID because it's treatment. My God, there's treatment. So this is what addiction is. There's treatment for addiction. You just gotta help this person understand their condition so they can understand, I do need help. I am sick. I do have a disease. And it's this. And if I get the right proper treatment, I can live a productive life. I can live in freedom every day. So that's all I got for you. Pray for me as I continue these series in addiction. And don't worry, we're going to get into some real nitty gritty stuff. Okay, we're going to get some real nitty gritty stuff. I got some stuff for you. You want it, I got it. Okay. But I'm not giving it out because I want to give it out like I know it all. I'm giving it up as I get it because I said I'm in class for it. And as I get it, I feel like it's good information to share, but also it's good information to give and help someone else so they can understand what they're struggling with. Because, we have all these support groups. We have anonymous groups for eating and shopping, and we have drunken drivers groups, and we have all kinds of groups, right? But then when someone get into a substance abuse group, it's like, oh my God, they're drunk, they're addicts, they drugs, they junkies. Why can't it just be that I want to learn this information in support of someone that I know? Or better yet, why can't I come into these groups and learn this information to help better serve the members who come into my church like that? Because for one, that ain't a spirit. It is a disease that they haven't. Now, their behaviors that's attached to it, that may be the spirit. But the sickness Come on. That is real and they need to be dealt with. Last point. If Jesus was able to deal with the person's condition, right? It's all in the Bible. Y'all Bible scholars. He dealt with the condition. Some had to press their way to get healed, and others knew that he was in town. And they was like, Jesus, I can't see you, but I know you're here. I need to see. I'm just paraphrasing. They had a condition of blindness. And even they said, the Bible said that the person he healed, right, that was blind, folks was talking and said, he probably was blind since birth. He was blind since birth. It probably was something he did, like everybody else that talks about a person who do something. And the parents said, no, wasn't none he did. You know, he was blind. He really had a condition, you know, of blindness from birth. And I took him to all the doctors, and they said there was nothing they could do. He had about 25 surgeries. I'm just paraphrasing. And there's nothing else they could do. And miraculously, yes, he can see. He was healed. He had a condition, right? So that's what addiction is. It's a condition. And I always say, it's not nobody's conclusion, because I'm here to tell you, it ain't my conclusion. I got 26 years going on. Not my conclusion. I thank God. I thank God. I told you, it's only because it's grace that I'm here. And it's only because he loves me that I ain't out there still. So that's all I got for you tonight. Join me on next Wednesday night, if the Lord said the same, for another episode of Introduction to Addiction. Now, why I have been harboring on this so long is because I learned two things. Some things you just can't get in one setting. And what I give you it's so much to Introduction of Addiction. I mean, so much. We haven't even tapped into all of it. I'm just giving you like what it is called introduction, and referring you to go get the information to what I got. And I'm going to put some more references and referrals and stuff you can go back and look at. I'm going to do that for YouTube as well, my YouTube watchers. I'm going to put the information in there so you can click on the link and have access to the information. Again, this is for individuals who need something to help with their loved ones. If you want my husband and I services, like I said, we are mentors, we are coaches. I am a sponsor, yes. So what that means is, if a person who is in recovery and they need a person to hold them accountable, that's what it is, really, a sponsor. And they need someone to help them walk through the 12 steps, which is 12 steps of Narcotic Anonymous and 12 steps of Alcohol Anonymous, which is what I have studied. That's what we do. We help you, we hold you accountable, but we also support you and link you and network you to some of the outside resources, that is, so you can have a sustainable recovery and long-term success. The other thing is, now I sponsor individuals who are serious about their recovery, because again, there's 5 stages of change that we identify. And if you are in the beginning and you just say, okay, I want it, but I don't want it, you're not sure about it, you just back and forth, tossing and turning, then you may not be ready for that type of sponsorship, because sponsors help you do homework, you get assignments, and you will, like, you're going to go to the meetings. But also a sponsor's there when you feel like you at the bar and you need to call. Y'all see the movies and they be calling a man and they be like, yo, I'm at the bar. I'm looking at the glass right now. This is how I'm feeling. I'm on the other end of the phone listening and just asking the questions. So if you take that first drink, if you take that first hit, if you take that first smoke, you go inside that store and buy that pocketbook again, where you think it's going to lead you. So that is what a sponsor does. You're there to support the individual through recovery. We have a short-term and a long-term relationship, and then you get, into some people have sponsors for the multiple, continuously, because this, like I told somebody, I didn't put my recovery on the shelf and say, okay, I'm saved now. I'm saved. I'm sanctified. I'm Holy Ghost filled. And that's the end of that. I'm going to walk up in a liquor store. I'm going to walk up in a crack house. No. No. Okay, that ain't happening. I'm not doing that. I need to call my sponsor and let them know, hey, I feel like using. Okay, I'm keeping it real. But I can't. And that's what I tell God. Lord, if you don't help me, I'm telling you, I'm at the brink of tipping over. So I thank you. So again, if you want to, you need some assistance, please inbox me. If you know anybody who needs some assistance, inbox me. You can see, search me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Yolanda M.P. Coleman. Life. We on Life. We on Facebook as Life Recovery Group. We have a private group you have to request to get in. And that's where I sometimes share a lot of pertinent information. And I get on there and kind of give you some encouragement. So join me next Wednesday, 6:30, same time. May not be this long because I just got back. So I'm excited to be with you all. I know it's been a long day. Everything that's going on, pray for those who are out there with this chaos. Again, we know that there's some individuals who probably affected in a different way, and they may be drinking, smoking, and ready to OD because they're looking at what's going on and they're like, listen, there's no hope. Pandemic and chaos in the capital. It's just so much. And people are ready to go over the edge, so let's just help one another. All right, so y'all have a blessed and safe evening. I am so glad to be with you all. I enjoyed. Until next week, maybe we'll get Pastor Jay Coleman on to talk about some of the things that I have shared, addiction, incarceration. Okay, we got some topics. Okay, like I said, this is life, living in freedom every day, talking about real topics with real people, dealing with real things. Not no fake stuff, but not no fake news, but dealing with the things that are really impacting our communities, and we want to be a blessing. All right, so thank you again. Be blessed. Be safe. Take care.